Welcome, everybody. I felt it would be interesting to do it this way for once. Maybe we'll do some pre race predictions and then a post race reaction. Just getting ready now for the Japanese Grand Prix. I have to say, looking at the Red Bulls being in, you know, the top two positions, it's very hard to see beyond a Red Bull win today. More than likely, this will be a revenge for Max Verstappen after he had a very rare mechanical failure last time out. And even if Max Verstappen doesn't win it somehow, it's probably going to be Sergio Perez, that Red Bull. It looks really good. It looks really, really good. Now, the only thing that could stop that, perhaps they could take each other out at the first corner. I would not like to be a fly on the wall at the Red Bull debrief if something like that does happen. It all remains to be seen, as I say. Some interesting variables today. So the Ferrari is way off the pace. I don't know if they have set themselves up for race pace or what's going on there, but I'm not going to hold my breath on that. Be interesting to see if Carlos Sainz, who I believe will be the future teammate of Max Verstappen, at least that's the move to be that would make the most sense. If he can beat Charles Leclerc. Leclerc looks a little bit off colour this weekend in terms of form, so not really sure what's happening there with that. The other thought is, of course, Lando Norris. Lando Norris has qualified really well. He's looking a little bit like the best of the rest at the moment. There's been flashes of that from Fernando Alonso as well, but I think Norris has the car to possibly do something. So both Norris and Piastri could have something up their sleeves. Once again, the qualifying setup versus the race setup, very hard to tell which way it has been done there. But potentially a podium for McLaren today and for Lando Norris. Could it be his first win? Well, I doubt it. But if something were to happen to those Red Bulls, then he's most certainly in the mix. We shouldn't forget about the Mercedes as well. They've been quite strong all weekend. Fell away a little bit during qualifying yesterday. So once again, it'll be that race setup versus the qualifying setup. Hamilton versus Russell. I have a sort of a sense that Hamilton is phoning it in this year just because he's out of there. He's off to Ferrari next year. The team possibly aren't giving him as much focus as he would like. But that teammate battle for me between that battle and of course the Leclerc and Sainz battle, those are the battles that I really really want to see. So anyway, I will sign off now, hoping for a very, very good race, hoping that it's not too boring. It's on very early my time. Really don't want to fall asleep during this one. So let's hope for some action. Hope you enjoy it too. Talk to you soon. Right, so that's it. It's over. As expected, it was Red Bull who finished 1 and 2. Max Verstappen back to winning ways for him. Not a huge surprise as predicted at the start of the race. Sergio Perez, a comfortable second place, didn't really trouble Max Verstappen. I think the team brief there is that he shouldn't go there and try to do that at all. Brilliant performance though from the Ferraris. Look at that, third and fourth place for the Ferraris. Carlos Sainz did very well to claim his podium place. Really battling that away from Lando Norris, who unfortunately just didn't have the pace of the Ferraris today, and a fantastic one-stop strategy from Leclerc, which put him in fourth place. He started off in eighth, I think, so that, moved him up 4 positions. Sainz started in fourth, finished in third, but really an excellent performance from the Ferraris. What else do we need to talk about then? Well, yeah, disappointing for both the McLarens, I think. Norris couldn't get that podium position, ended up in 5th after all of that. And Piastri held on for so long in his battle with Alonso, and then just to make a mistake, I think it was on the last lap or just the second last lap, where he got overtaken by George Russell. But Alonso, a very smart guy, he did exactly what he needed to do to ensure that he wasn't overtaken or beaten by Piastri, or indeed by Russell. He managed that gap very nicely. So good work there by Fernando Alonso. You can see behind me then the finishing positions. Yuki Tsunoda, he was very impressive today. He gets that 10th place. Lance Stroll will be very disappointed not to make the top 10. I think he's pretty much the outlier of the top 5 teams, as you can see there. And yeah, so I think we move to China next. A little bit of damage as well for Albon. He had that collision with Daniel Ricciardo at the start of the race. Really not good for Daniel Ricciardo. I don't know what is in store for Daniel Ricciardo, but once again, completely outperformed by his teammate this weekend. He didn't give it a shot at all. He wasn't in the race, so you can't see where he would have finished. I don't think he would have finished above his teammate. I don't think he'd have finished in the points. Yeah, so this is starting to look like a very precarious situation or position, I suppose, for Daniel Ricciardo. Anyway, we'll see how the week evolves. Lewis Hamilton was also a little bit disappointing. I think the Mercedes in general, they tried the one-stop strategy, did not make it work as well as the Ferrari. So I have to give a big shout out to Ferrari. Not only did they have great race pace, not as good as the Red Bulls, mind, but they also had one of the better strategies today. And I think I saw a prediction that Leclerc would have finished behind Russell if he had actually done the two-stopper like everybody else. So it was a really good strategy from them. So fair play to Ferrari. Well done to Max Verstappen and Red Bull. They're now, firmly on top of the championship in both constructors and drivers. I think actually that Perez now has moved up into second place in the driver's standings. So that's not unsurprising, I guess. Okay, thanks everybody for watching. Very quick reaction to the race. It was a fairly good race, I suppose, a little bit boring position 1 and 2, but behind that we had some very good action. I know the cameraman focused a lot on Yuki Tsunoda. Luckily for us, Yuki Tsunoda had some very exciting racing. So I'll speak to you soon.